Hello neighbor, this is Curt with eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Yakima StageTwo platform bike rack, and we're going to see how it interacts with our 2024 Nissan Rogue. Now the StageTwo is going to offer us a weight capacity of 70 pounds per tray, so it will accommodate a lot of those e-bikes that are out there. It's a wheel-mounted bike carrier, so it's attached here through this hook and arm assembly in the front, and a single ratcheting strap for the back wheel. Now, being that it is wheel mounted like this, it's not going to touch the frame at all. So if you have a custom paint job or carbon fiber frame, this is going to be some bike rack that will keep that safe. However, if your bike has fenders, you're going to want to take a look at a frame mounted bike rack, a lot of which are available right here at etrailer.com. Now, the other really cool thing about this bike rack, it's a little bit of an added feature, is that each arm and hook assembly comes with its own integrated cable lock that can be used to be, wrapped around either through the wheel or through the frame here and attached to this post. Each of our arm and hook assemblies has that to offer. And we also have an added welded loop here in the middle of the rack. So if you wanted to add your own heavier duty cable lock to it and lock both the bikes together, between that and these to secure the bikes to the rack itself, your bike should be really, really secure when they're unattended here on the back of the rack. But with all that being said, after looking at a few of the little details on the StageTwo, let's take a look at how it fits on our Rogue. So as you can see right here, we've got plenty of space back here between the bike and the back of the vehicle. Even when I give it a really rigorous shake, if you're on a bumpier road, we're really in no danger of making contact. And this is a larger frame bike. It has 14.5-inch handlebars and 4.25-inch pedals and a pretty large frame. So this is telling me that really regardless of what bike you have, the size, it should be okay here on the StageTwo with the Nissan Rogue. But like with any platform bike rack, we are going to run into some visibility issues. We're not going to see too much of the bike other than the handlebars and the top of the seat through our rear view window. We're going to have a little bit of a blockage on our taillights, more so in the front of the bike here on the driver's side. But if we had a second bike on here, we'd probably be getting the same right here on the passenger side taillight as well. We're going to have partial blockage of our license plate and, of course, of our rear view camera. So it is really important to understand just what kind of footprint this is going to leave behind the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and measure the furthest point of the rack to our bumper. And what we're going to come up with here is going to be about 34 inches. So you just barely got under 3 feet extra hanging off of our back bumper here. And it's important to understand that and realize that's back there whenever you're backing into a tighter space or trying to parallel park. The other thing we're going to take a look at is going to be our ground clearance. So for the furthest point of the bike rack, we're going to have a ground clearance of 17.5 inches. And this is a tiered bike rack, meaning it does get a little bit higher as we get further away from the bumper. So that's generally more than enough clearance not to have me too worried about any steeper inclines or driveways. However, we do want to be conscious of it because the StageTwo does sit a little bit further away from the vehicle than some other bike racks do. So the further it sticks out, the more possibility we have depending on the incline. But generally speaking, it's not low enough for me to worry about it too much. Now, I had mentioned earlier that you could have your e-bikes on here up to 70 pound capacity per tray. So let's take a look at exactly what it would take to lift that bike up onto here. So I'm going to take a measurement from the forward wheel cup here, 16.5 inches to get it up onto that. And I'm going to do the same here on our rear, which is going to come to 19 inches. Now, whatever your bike weighs, if those are heights that you really aren't comfortable with lifting up and down, I'm going to highly recommend the Yakima StageTwo loading ramp. It's available right here at etrailer.com, and it can really help keep you and your bike safe when loading and unloading. Now, one of the most common questions we get when it comes to a hitch bike rack and a vehicle like the Rogue is, will you have access to your cargo area, to your lift gate, while we still have bikes on the rack? And in the case of the StageTwo, we do. So we're going to perform our tilt-away function right now, and what we'll find here is basically just a trigger mechanism, a little latch that I'm just going to kind of brace the bike's weight. Go ahead and close that, and we're going to slowly tilt it away from our vehicle. Now, this comes really close to hitting the ground down here, but there is no ground contact, so it is tilting at its maximum. And then we'll just come right around here, and we're able to access our lift gate without removing the bike. And this is great because now I can get in here, I can get more water, grab my helmet, change my shoes, grab any other equipment, all without unloading the bike. Or maybe you're on the way home from the trail and you decide to stop and go grocery shopping. Now I can get everything loaded and unloaded pretty easily. So in order to get it back up into its riding position, we don't need to use the trigger mechanism. We just need to lift back up against it until we hear that click. And now we're locked back into our riding position and we're ready to hit the road. Loading and unloading your bike from the Stage 2 is a really, really simple process. We're just going to come to the rear wheel here. We're going to depress this tab. And we're going to feed our strap back through these spokes and clear it out of the way. Then we'll come around here to the front. We're going to grab our frame to stabilize, and we're going to press this button in right here. That's going to release our hook, and we're able to swing it and clear it from the wheel. Now we're able to remove our bike, and whether we're storing it in the garage or hitting the trail, we're ready to go. Now, the Yakima Stage 2 is constructed with a black powder coat steel. And while that does help with longevity, it's going to be very durable and very corrosion and rust resistant. It also makes it pretty heavy, weighing in at 64 pounds. And with a weight like that, it's probably not going to be a bike rack that you want to remove and reload too often. So it might be something that maybe lives in your hitch a bit, just depending on how much you go on bike rides. But luckily, we don't have to leave it deployed here for that full 33, 34 inches that it was coming out. It does have a stowaway feature. We're going to use that same trigger mechanism here, but instead of letting it drop, we're going to go ahead and let it lift up, click into place just like that. And now we've got it right up against our bumper, and we eliminated all that extra footprint we had before. As a matter of fact, if we go ahead and take a measurement from the bumper to the furthest part of the bike rack, it's now sitting out at 9 1/4 inches. So we cut that down by, a third or 2/3 or 3/4, pretty close to that, but it's much, much closer to the vehicle. Now, as we sit as it is, we actually have visibility on our taillights. However, we're still going to have obstruction coming from our rear view camera and our license plate as well. Now, there is a kit available right here at etrailer.com for a light and license plate kit for your Stage 2. That way you can make sure that everything is visible and you're compliant as you're going down the road. So if you're somebody who rides frequently and you've got some nice bikes that you really want to keep taken care of, I think the Yakima Stage 2 is an excellent choice for you, especially if you like to use those heavier e-bikes that are in the 50, 60, 70 pound range. It's also a very good looking and simple to operate bike rack that should last you for years and years to come. But if after watching this video you decide that the Stage 2 is the bike rack for you and your 2024 Nissan Rogue, and you get it and you load it up and you're able to use it a few times, please share with us what you think about it in the comments below. We would love to share your story with other neighbors so they can make the best decision for themselves. Once again, this is Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.